In this video, let's try to configure the security of the services that we developed as per our requirement. So like we are seeing in the last few videos, by default, Spring Security will try to secure all the services that we configured inside the project. To prove you that, let's try to go and do some hands-on in the code. Right now, what I'm trying to do here is like I just created a package com.easybytes.config, and inside that I created a new class called project security config. So this is my class name, and I have annotated with the configuration annotation, which is an indication to my Spring container that this is a configuration class and it has to consider while booting up the application. One of the basic thing that we have to do whenever we try to customize the Spring security as per our needs is we have to extend this web security configure adapter. So this is the most important class inside Spring security framework where we extend and override the methods available inside it as per our requirements. If you see here, I'm just trying to override a method called configure, which accepts the parameters of HTTP security. As of now, I didn't implement anything inside this method. But to show you what's the default configurations considered by Spring Security for all the REST services or any authentication URLs that we try to build in our application, you can go inside this class and you can look for this method configure. I'm trying to go inside this class, and this is a all Spring Security library. You can see this is the jars that I have downloaded using Spring Starter projects and Maven, and inside this class I am searching for a configure method which accepts HTTP security as a parameter. If you see here, the default implementation of this method is any request that comes to inside our application has to be authenticated. Authenticated in the sense any URL or any REST service that I have in my application, it has to be validated by credentials. The user has to be authenticate himself. And at the same time, we have an AND condition saying that all the requests has to be authenticated, all URLs, and this has to happen for all form login and HTTP basic. Form login is the method which indicates my Spring security all the browser requests coming through forms like login form, my contact form, and at the same time HTTP basic is a method which indicates all the requests coming through my backend APIs. Like I may be calling through some other Java code through backend by using REST template, or in the case of Postman, we're also trying to call directly through the backend. There's no UI involved. So HTTP basic indicates that, and form login indicates something trying to call from the browser. And you can see by default Spring security expect every request. Any request means any request that is coming to it has to be authenticated, and this applies to both form login and HTTP basic. So what I will do is I'll try to copy paste and implement the same into my project security config class also. Post that, I will go to my Spring Security starting boot application class. Here I have added another component scan, which is the package that we added. And since we have multiple packages, I am using component scans is an annotation which is accept an array of component scan annotations. So this will tell my Spring Boot application, go ahead and scan for these packages and classes inside these packages, and it will look for all the controllers, REST controllers, and it will build the REST APIs. And at the same time inside the config, it will try to look what are the customizations that we're trying to do. And as I shown right now, we are going with the default implementation of the Spring Security. That means every request that inside my application, there are 6 services. All these 6 services has to be authenticate themselves before processing the business logic. So this is the default behavior. Let's try to see what will happen if we try to test the services using this code. Let's try to start this application with this code that we have copy pasted from the Spring Security framework and see how the application behaves. As per our understanding, this has to be nothing different what we have tested before, because we are going right now with the default implementation itself, even in our Spring Security custom code. To test that, I came to Postman and I'm trying to call my cards without any authorization details. We should expect 401. Now, if I go and provide the authentication details which we configured, we should get a proper response. The same applies for all the services like my account as well. You can see here are the account details from the database. So it is confirmed by default. Spring Security expects every URL to be secured inside your application. In next video, let's try to configure as per our project needs. Thank you. Bye.